Welcome, I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute and your devil's advocate. A little later in the program, we're going to be talking to a few folks about Colorado's influence in the national election, the presidential one. But first, local governments make up most of Colorado government. We've got, 3,500 local governments? That's where the power is in Colorado. And that's where some of the corruption and questionable calls come from. To get a closer look from the beautiful city of Lone Tree, Councilwoman Kim Monson. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here with you.
How long have you been on the council there? I
just finished my third year. It's a 4-year term.
The pay's good. The pay is good. It's an easy job. Why does anybody run for local government? I mean, it's one of those things that you don't get paid. Everybody likes you before you go in. Nobody likes you when you get out because you're angering your neighbors over something. I mean, it's not an easy job. Even this thing you're only supposed to do once every other week, one meeting, it's a lot more.
It actually is a lot more. And most city council people do now get a small stipend now. However, when you really take a look at it, at gas and time and printing and all those different things, I'm pretty sure that...
what do you get paid?
We get paid about $770 a month.
Holy mud! When I was on the RTD board, I got $250 a month and a bus pass. Because the ladies love a man with a bus pass.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. All right, speaking of RTD, one of the things you're concerned with is the light rail line going into your town. Now, most people in city governments love the choo-choo train coming in. There's something mystical about it. They just love it. You're skeptical, and you're worried about the cost. Explain why. First of all, is there a line going to Lone Tree now?
Yes, there is a line that goes to Lone Tree. What this would do, it's going to be $207 million or $233 million, depending on who you talk to take another 2.3 miles further south across I-25 over into that undeveloped area on the east side of I-25. And, that's exciting.
Is that down towards, no, that's even past Lincoln,
It'll be past Lincoln. Okay. It's south of Lincoln. And that all sounds really exciting. But to get the deal done will require $92 million of federal money. And I've said on many occasions that I'm very concerned about taking federal money for regional projects. And it really goes back to the General Welfare Clause. John Eastman had written a great piece about the General Welfare Clause.
Who's John Eastman?
He is a constitutional attorney, and this was written for the Heritage Foundation. And basically, the premise is, it goes all the way back to the founding, that the founders meant that general welfare means that everybody benefits. So they could make the case for, say, putting a lighthouse on the eastern seaboard because that would help interstate commerce. But however, putting a road in just the Cumberland Gap area that would only benefit that particular region, they felt that they shouldn't do that. So that's the same kind of premise here.
You see if I understand what's going on. So. And I remember this game, which was free money is free money. Money from the feds is free money. So under George W. Bush, we had an all-time record of earmarks. Now, earmarks were wonderful because you bring in the bacon home to your district. Right. So we had thousands and thousands and thousands of earmarks to, the bridge to nowhere, which, millions of dollars to build a bridge in Alaska to an island that had 50 people on it, but we were going to spend $50 million to build a bridge. I mean, ridiculous things, but you bring it home as a politician, and look what we got you. We got you free money. But everybody else is doing it, and before you know it, that turns into something. So let me see if I understand the situation. In Lone Tree, everybody wants this extension of the light rail because why not? It's pretty, it's fun, it's wonderful, and all the other fibs about it. But the feds are willing to kick in not quite half, over a third of this, $93 million out of a $233 million project. It's free money. How much money is your city putting in?
Our city is putting in $7.5 million. There is a local match. Douglas County is putting in 7.3. City of Lone Tree is putting in 7.3. Rampart Range Metro District, which is the Ridgegate development, is putting in 7.3. And then SpyMed, which is the commercial area up and down I-25, is putting in $3 million. And that's actually hard cash. One of the things that concerns me in that particular situation, though, John, is that we are having to aggregate that liability under the Lone Tree's balance sheet. So ultimately, I've been in the investment business, and I've been through booms and busts in Colorado. And we need to plan for those busts. Right now, we're in a boom. But quite frankly, if we go into difficult economic times, the citizens of Lone Tree might have to raise taxes to pay that.
The way these boondoggles work is you buy in, you build these coalitions. City councils and particularly city mayors love these things, and they all come together, they all throw some money in, and it feels really good. So you're preaching something that makes no sense to them, which is we should say no to the feds when they're offering us free money. Now, this is completely antithetical to every boondoggle, every public works project, everything a city wants. Somebody else, and here's the logic, so tell me how you're going to answer this. If we don't say yes to that $93 million, some other city is going to use it for something else. So why not your constituents in Lone Tree get it rather than somebody in Oakland, California get it?
I've heard that before. But John, great societies and great people care about how they treat their neighbors, and they also care about the legacies that they pass on to the next generation. And if we start to try to build our prosperity on the backs of others, by taking from others that may never benefit from this particular light rail, whether it's our neighbors in Ohio or our children and grandchildren, at some point in time, the whole thing breaks down. And we need to start to have local officials that say no. We need to say just no to the federal money. And we just sent out a...
Why do I have a feeling every colleague you have, not only on that city council, but everyone in this partnership, thinks you're nuts? And I imagine a lot of constituents, because why not get yours while the getting is good? I understand, yeah, theoretically it'd be nice if everybody said no to that money, and then what would happen? But that's not going to happen. You know that's not going to happen. Somebody else is going to suck it up.
John, but if you take a look at what we've done to our children, our grandchildren, we have gone from $10 trillion in debt to $18 trillion in debt just within the last 6-7 years. It's unconscionable. At some point in time, local officials, citizens, we have to say, wait a minute. Now, John, we stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on the shoulders of people that spent blood and treasure instead of tried to get mine. They spent blood and treasure to pass on something better than the next generation. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that feel that way. And it once again goes to the premise that, oh, it's okay to take from my neighbor so that I, have something better. But at some point in time, the government starts to take from you too. So at some point in time, you're going to be the one that's in the frying pan. And you're going to say, gosh, I wish somebody'd stand up for me.
Could you envision this as a movement? By the way, you will get outvoted. They will take the free money, and what a surprise that it's going to cost more than they expected. And when you talk about, ups and downs, when RTD came up with this silly fast tracks proposal, we looked at the financing, and they built their financing on there never being a recession for 4 decades in Denver, that they were going to have at least 6% growth year after year after year in the economy, and that's what they built it on. Mm-hmm. And it was fanciful, and so what a surprise that they're already over 40% over budget. So I'm not surprised by that. But can you see a time where there's a movement among more conscientious local government officials who say not only do we have a responsibility here to run the city, but we have a responsibility to rein in the federal government, which means we're going to have to anger our own and say no to free money?
I do think there's a movement. I feel very optimistic as I talk to people about it. As you really look at the real issues on this, I feel very encouraged about that. Now, there certainly will be all those that say it's free money, let's take it. But it's not free money. The federal government is printing money, it's borrowing from the future, it's taking, and it's, from a tax standpoint, you also hear people say, oh, I'm paying my income tax, so at least I get some of it back. However, the federal government is spending it several times over. And that's just not sustainable, and it's not fair. It's not just.
Anybody else on your team feel the same way? Can you get any of the other city council members in the other cities to feel the same way, or are you all alone on this one?
No, I think I have other colleagues in other cities that feel this way, and it just takes some courage. It's not the easiest thing in the world, John, to do this. However, I see people that are getting involved in city government that really do care about what we pass on to the next generation.
Sooner or later, I think the question might be, are you willing to give up your favorite government-funded project in order to save the federal government? And that's a tough question. And I want to cut government, but I don't want to cut it on myself. And so for politicians to say, I'm going to cut this, and it's going to hurt us. We're going to say no to that free money. Best of luck to you. It's going to be a fun one. All right, let me know how it goes.
Okay, thanks, John.
You stay tuned.